with all due respect to these leftists, they just want to come after your Second Amendment rights. Let's just be honest. That's what they want to do. They don't want you. They view you as a law-abiding citizen as the target of what they're trying to do. How can they, on the one hand, say they're serious about this when they support these people who let all the criminals out of prison and they don't prosecute people?
Soy Juan Mendoza reportando para Los Rebeldes. Estamos aquí afuera del Cox Centro de Ciencia y Aquarium en West Palm Beach, donde el gobernador de Florida, Ron DeSantis, tuvo una conferencia anunciando todas las acciones que su oficina ha hecho para ayudar al Estado en medios ambientales, incluyendo el mantenimiento del agua en el Estado y proyectos como la restauración del Everglades.
The state's been doing very well financially, even though we have very low taxes. You know, you're seeing revenue come in way above what the estimates are every month, and we'll end this current fiscal year, June 30th, with about a $21 billion surplus, and that's by far the biggest ever. This is a #1 destination for Americans, but also foreigners. First quarter 2022, Florida represented a 45% share of all the international visitors to the United States of America. And no state has ever had that much of a percentage for foreign tourism, and we usually are behind New York. We're much higher than New York is now, and because we don't let people get harassed about their vaccine status and masks. Starting July 1st, we will have $1.2 billion for Everglades restoration and the protection of water resources. That's a record. We've never done that much. And so our ambitious goal was over 4 years to do $2.5 billion for those initiatives. And with my signature on the budget, the 4-year total will actually not be $2.5 billion. It'll be $3.3 billion over a 4-year period. So that more than doubles over my 4 years, the previous 4 years, in terms of the commitment to these key initiatives. And since I took office in January of 2019, 48 Everglades projects have broken ground or finished construction, including the EAA Reservoir Project, which will help reduce harmful discharges to the estuaries. I also announced today, we had a piece of legislation, Senate Bill 2508, that was putting some requirements on, and our view is, we're going in the right direction, and we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. So we vetoed the bill, making sure that we're going to continue with the policy that we had set out 3.5 years ago. So we've been able to do a lot for water resources, water quality, but what we were also able to do is launch a new initiative called Resilient Florida to be able to support infrastructure and key initiatives to help protect a state that's sea level by and large, and that is a storm-prone state. So we were able to get in this year's the next year's budget starting July 1st, we got another $500 million for Resilient Florida. So that'll be the 2-year commitment from both the current fiscal year and next fiscal year will be over $1.1 billion. And so what that will do is, so if we have projects in Palm Beach, it's not just us giving money. They are also providing money. So if you have $1.1 billion in state funds, that's going to be well over $2 billion in actual impact across the state of Florida with these projects. And so that's a huge amount of commitment. We also have more than $270 million to fully fund all 3 years of our state's first ever statewide flood plan, which we announced earlier this year, 76 projects across the state to address different vulnerabilities in different Florida communities. We also have $180 million to fund projects in the next plan, which will be submitted later this year. And additionally, up to $40 million is provided for planning grants for communities to develop or update comprehensive vulnerability assessments and adaptation plans. And so this builds upon the $20 million we already made in the current year. And these assessments are really necessary that you know what type of infrastructure you need to do in the first place. And so that's been a key thing, especially for some communities that may not have as much wherewithal as some of our larger communities. It's been really, really helpful for them. And so The grant program is significant. In last year's budget, we had $640 million to mitigate, prepare, and reduce the adverse impacts of these extreme weather events in our communities. And as a result of that investment, we've already announced earlier this year $404 million for 113 different projects across the state through the Resilient Florida program. And so this is relocating structures out of flood-prone areas, elevating or relocating wastewater and drinking water facilities, raising elevations of roads and buildings, and establish living shorelines to reduce storm impacts. So, and then we also have $264 million to improve our state parks. We want communities to take advantage of all this historic funding, so we are announcing today that the application portal for many of these grant programs will be open starting today at protectingfloridatogether.gov/grants.
Being a part of an agency for over 15 years, you know, I can definitely say from the heart and the soul and the mission that we dedicated, we are honored to have the governor's leadership focus on the environment.
What we've done in this budget is have record funding, continued record funding, for school safety and school security, as well as mental health. We've done $750 million just for school security since 2019. So we took the Stoneman-Douglas recommendations, we put those into effect in both policy and with resources, and it's made a really, really big difference. With all due respect to these leftists, they just want to come after your Second Amendment rights. Let's just be honest. That's what they want to do. They don't want you. They view you as a law-abiding citizen as the target of what they're trying to do. How can they, on the one hand, say they're serious about this when they support these people who let all the criminals out of prison and they don't prosecute people?
Si ustedes quisieran ayudarnos a financiar estas noticias y traerles más coberturas de Miami y el estado de Florida, puede hacerlo por yendo a losrebeldes.com.